Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Let us chant one round of japa with Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Krishna Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेष्व भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्रीमद् भगवद गीता एज इट इज की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam for All session. Let us recite Bhagavad Gita shloka. We are reciting from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 15, text 6. Achyut Priya Arundhati Mataji, you can start.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada, our glorious last soul talking.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
न तद्भाष्यते सूर्यो न शशाङ्को न पावकः यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम. Translation of Prabhupada. Translation: that supreme abode of mind is not illumined by the sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Usha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranams, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the assembled devotees.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Na tat bhasyate suryo na
Bhasayate Mataji, Bhasayate.
na tad bhasayate suryo na shashanko na pavakaha yad gatva na nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. Translation: the supreme abode of mind is not illuminated by the sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world. Thank you, Mataji. May this not hear yet, Mataji.
Okay, so I'll recite Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 15, text 6. Na tad bhasayate suryo na shashanko na pavakaha yad gatva na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. That supreme abode of mine is not illumined by the sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world. Priyanka Haripriya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Na tad bhasayate suryo na shashanko na pavakaha yadgatvana nivartante taddama paramam mama. That supreme abode of mine is not illuminated by the sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world.
Thank you. So let's read Srimad Bhagavatam. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 2. Prayers offered by the demigods to the Lord in the womb of Devaki. Let's see the exact title. Prayers by the demigods for Lord Krishna in the womb. Chapter 2 is prayers by demigods for Lord Krishna in the womb. So yesterday we read, so this is continuation from the previous chapter. In the previous chapter we heard that when Kamsa heard from Narad Muni that the demigods have now taken birth in the Yadu dynasty, and the demigods are the enemies of the demons. Kamsa was of demoniac pravritti, demoniac nature, so naturally he saw the demigods as his enemies. And when he heard that all the members in the Yadu dynasty as well as Vrishni dynasty, that means Vasudev's family members and Nanda Maharaj's family members, relatives, they are all actually demigods, then he became inimical toward all the members of the Yadus. So this chapter begins with the continuation of that. How exactly he exhibited that enmity we are seeing here. So what did he do? We saw in the first two verses that he was accompanied by his demonic friends. That means in cooperation with his demonic friends like Pralambasur, Bakasur, Chanura, Mushtika, Trinavarta, Aghasur, Arishtasur, Dvivida, Putana, Keshi, Dhenuka, like this. He and of course his greatest power was Jarasan, who was the king of Magadha, and also his father-in-law, who was very powerful. So with the support of all these demoniac persons, what did Kamsa do? He started persecuting the members of the Yadu dynasty. So persecuting means he was harassing them, troubling them, maybe even killing them and arresting them. So out of fear of Kamsa, what did all these family members do? They left their own kingdom, right? Yadus were living in the country of Mathura and in the district of Shurasena and other places, and they left their kingdoms, right? And they took shelter of the neighboring kingdoms like Videha, Koshala, uh, Kurus, Panchalas, like this. They went to the neighboring countries and took shelter. Then not all of them actually ran away. Some of them remained, though. Some of them remained in Mathura, and they apparently became obedient. They accepted Kamsa's principles and they took service under Kamsa. It appeared like they have actually, it appeared like now they have changed their parties, right? Before they were on the side of Lord Vishnu, because demigods are on the side of Lord Vishnu, and Vishnu Bhakta Bhaved Daiva Asurastad Viparyaya. The demigods means they are the devotees of Lord Vishnu. Asuras means they are not devotees, they are non-devotees of Vishnu. Kamsa was Asura Pravritti, and the Yadus were all demigods, that means they're all devotees of Lord Vishnu. But now some of them, so who do we know amongst these, like Akrura, some of the members, they actually appeared like they have now become servants of Kamsa, right? So they have joined Kamsa's party. So why would they do that? Did they actually change their nature? No, they didn't. In fact, Yadoscha Dharmashilasya, they're all strict adherents. All the Yadavas, the Yadu dynasty personalities were all actually strict adherents of Dharma. They were all devotees of the Lord. But externally, now they took the service of Kamsa because they had this intense desire to see the appearance of the Supreme Lord. They also heard that Lord Vishnu is going to come and he's going to be the 8th child of Devaki. And he's going to kill Kamsa. So they wanted to see that. So, and also they wanted to see the Lord's appearance, his childhood pastimes, and how he's going to kill Kamsa, and also how those 6 sons of Devaki are going to be delivered. They wanted to be there when all this action is happening. So for that, externally, they appeared like they actually took service of Kamsa. In this way, some members remained, stayed back, whereas most of them actually went hither and thither to other um, kingdoms, took shelter of other kingdoms. Then one more thing that we read yesterday in text 5 is that after Kamsa killed Devaki's first 6 sons, a plenary portion of Krishna entered her womb as her 7th child. So the 6 sons are killed now. One after another, Kamsa killed the 6 sons. Now Devaki became pregnant with the 7th child. Who is this 7th child? This is a plenary portion of Krishna. And another thing is, this plenary portion of Krishna aroused both her pleasure and her lamentation. Why her pleasure? Because Balaram, right? The plenary portion of Krishna here is Balaram. Rama means what? Rama means one who gives pleasure. He's the pleasure potency. Of course, he's not the energy, he's Purusha, but still, Rama means one who gives pleasure, he's full of pleasure. So naturally, when Balaram entered Devaki's womb, she became full of pleasure because of that association with Rama, the Lord of pleasure, the pleasure potency of Krishna. So therefore, Devaki became very blissful. But at the same time, she became she lamented. She was also very morose. Simultaneously, she's blissful also. She's experiencing pleasure, but she's also very morose. She's experiencing lamentation. Why this lamentation? That Kamsa has killed my 6 babies, and this 7th child who's so dear, this child is also going to be killed by Kamsa. So, for fear of her child, she was experiencing lamentation. So, she was experiencing pleasure and lamentation at the same time. Okay, then what else did we see? That the plenary portion is celebrated by great sages as Ananta, who belongs to Krishna's 2nd quadruple expansion. So, of course, this is Lord Balaram, and according to Srila Prabhupada says in the purport, according to expert Acharya's opinion, this is the opinion of experienced commentators. What is their opinion? That Ananta Sankarshan belongs to the 2nd Chaturvyuha or quadruple expansion. So you'll get more clarity on this in the next verse, next couple of verses as we read. So we have to start with text 6 today, right? Let me see. Yes, we have to start with 6. So let's begin. Bhagavan api vishvatma viditva kamsajam bhayam yadunam nijanathanam yogamayam samadishat. So I think Isha read yesterday. Krishna Shish, Madhava, Rasapriya, they haven't joined yet, have not joined yet. So Usha Mataji, you can read.
You want me to do the translation first, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji, you have to read the translation. Am I sharing the screen?
Yes, Mataji, I could see. Yeah.
Okay.
To protect the Yadus, his personal devotees, from Kamsa's attack, the personality of Godhead, Vishwatma, the supreme soul of everyone, ordered Yogamaya as follows. Do you want me to read the purport to Mataji? Or?
We can go to the next person, and then maybe everyone will get double turns.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you.
So then next after Usha Mataji, Priyanka Haripriya Mataji.
Bhagavad's Bhagavan api Vishwa Atma Vidita Kamsajam Bhayam are commented upon by Srila Sanatan Goswami. Bhagwan Swayam is Krishna, Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. He is Vishwatma, the original super soul of everyone, because his plenary portion expands as the super soul. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 13.3. Kshetrajya Jnanam Chapi Mam Vidhi Sarva Kshetreshu Bharata. Lord Krishna is the Kshetrajana or super soul of all. Kshetrajya. Okay.
Yeah.
Kshetrajya. Lord Krishna is the Kshetrajya or super soul of all living entities. He is the original source of all expansions of the personality of Godhead. There are hundreds and thousands of plenary expansions of Vishnu, such as Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Vasudeva. But here, in this material world, the Vishwatma, the super soul for all living entities, is Shirodakshai Vishnu. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 18.61, Ishvaraha Sarva Bhutanam Hrideshe Arjun Tishtati. The Supreme Lord is situated in the heart of all living entities, O Arjuna. Krishna is actually Vishnu Atma by his plenary expansion as Vishnu Tattva. Yet, because of his affection for his devotees, he acts as super soul to give them directions. Sarvasya chaham hridi samivishtu matah samriti jnanam avohanam cha.
Thank you, Mataji. Next, Shravani Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dandavat pranam Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Dandavat pranam Mataji. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
The affairs of the super soul pertain to Kshirodak Sai Vishnu, but Krishna took compassion on Devaki, his devotee, because he understood her fear of Kamsa's persecution. A pure devotee is always fearful of material existence. No one knows what will happen next, for one may have to change his body at any moment. Tata dehantara praptihi. Knowing this fact, a pure devotee acts in such a way that he will not have his life spoiled by being obliged to accept another body and undergo the tribulations of material existence. This is bhayam or fear. Bhayam dvitiyabhina vesatah syat. Bhagavatam 11.2.37. This fear is due to material existence. Properly speaking, everyone should always be alert and fearful of material existence. But although everyone is prone to be affected by ignorance of material existence, the Supreme Personality, Godhead Krishna, is always alert to protection of his devotees. Krishna is so kind and affectionate towards his devotees that he helps them by giving them intelligence by which to exist in the material world without forgetting him even for a moment. The Lord says, Tesham evanukampartam aham ajnanajam tamaha nasayamya atma bhavasto jnana deepena bhasvata. Out of compassion for them, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born out of ignorance. Bhagavad Gita 10.11.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Next, Achyut Priya Mataji.
The word yoga means link. In a system of yoga is an attempt to reconnect our broken relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are different types of yoga, of which Bhakti Yoga is the best. In other yoga systems, one must undergo various processes before attaining perfection. But Bhakti Yoga is direct. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 6.47, Yoginam api sarvesham markatena antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamo mataha. Of all yogis, he who always abides in me with great faith, worshipping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. For the Bhakti Yoga, a human body is guaranteed in its next existence, as stated by Lord Krishna, Suchinam Srimatam Gehi Yoga Brastu Vijayate. Yoga Maya is the spiritual potency of the Lord. Out of affection for his devotees, the Lord always stays in spiritual touch with them. although otherwise his Maya potency is so strong that she bewilders even exalted demigods like Brahma. Therefore, the Lord's potency is called Yoga Maya. Since the Lord is Vishwatma, he immediately ordered Yoga Maya to give protection to Devi.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Okay, so there is explanation here. So in the previous verse, we saw that the Lord or Lord Balaram appeared in the womb of Devaki as the seventh Garbha or the seventh embryo. So first 6 babies were killed, and then actually there's a little bit of explanation here by Acha, okay, we'll read that later. What exactly the Lord ordered Yogamaya, that we will see later. But the Lord is Vishwatma. Here the important thing is Vishwatma. Vishwatma means who is the soul of the universe. Paramatma. So again, Paramatma, you have different levels of Paramatma, right? You have 3 Paramatmas. Paramatma for the entire material creation is Karanodakashaya Vishnu. Paramatma for the universe is Garbhodakashaya Vishnu. And Paramatma for each and every atom and every individual soul, Paramatma is Kshirodakashaya Vishnu. So here it is said Vishwatma, he is the soul of the whole universe. Okay, so Paramatma. So to protect the Yadus, his personal devotees, from Kamsa's attack, the personality of Godhead Vishwatma. So should we think that this is Paramatma who is ordering Yogamaya? No, this is not Paramatma. Then why it is said Paramatma? Because Paramatma is an expansion of Krishna. Paramatma is an expansion of Krishna. So you can call Krishna Paramatma also, because that is an amsha or a kala of Krishna. You understand? Just like you can call the sun's energies are light and heat. Even though you don't see the sun directly, when you see light in the morning, you say the sun is out, the sun is here, or the sun has come into my room. Don't you say there is sun in my room? That means what? The light of the sun is here, but you're saying sun. Light of sun, you're calling the light of the sun as sun. But sun, actually it is the other way around. In this example, it is the other way around. Because here it's something like calling sun as light. Because Krishna is like sun, okay? And Paramatma is an amsha. So Krishna is addressed as Paramatma. Because that Paramatma is also an expansion of Krishna, and there is no harm in calling Krishna Paramatma, because Paramatma is also in Krishna. Everyone is in Krishna. All his expansions are in Krishna. So there is no harm. Okay, that much only. Paramatma. So Vishwatma here means he's Lord of the universe, but here we shouldn't think that this Vishwatma is actually Purusha avatar. No, this Vishwatma is actually Krishna. So Krishna is personally ordering Yogamaya. What he is ordering Yogamaya, we will see in the next verse. So the words Bhagavan api Vishwatma viditva kamsajam bhayam are commented upon by Srila Sanatana Goswami. So viditva kamsajam bhayam. Viditva kamsajam bhayam means what? Understanding the position of the Yadus and his other devotees because of Kamsa. There's fear. That means the Lord understanding that his devotees, who are his devotees? The Yadus, the members of the Yadu dynasty. Specifically here, Devaki. We saw she's experiencing pleasure and lamentation at the same time, right? And why she's experiencing lamentation? Why she is, what is the cause for her suffering? Fear of Kamsa. Kamsa has killed her other sons, now Kamsa may also kill her next child. So she's experiencing fear. Not only Devaki, but all Yadus. We saw how Kamsa is persecuting them. So the Lord is feeling compassion. He is aware. Viditva means he knows. How he knows? Because he's Paramatma. Paramatma means, here Srila Prabhupada or our Acharyas and Srila Prabhupada are saying Paramatma means we are talking about Kshirodakashai Vishnu. Kshirodakashai Vishnu is present in each and every atom. He's there in the heart of every living entity. That means he's completely aware of what's going on in each person's mind, what we are planning, and who we are, what we are doing, everything he's aware of. So Paramatma, he is Vishvatma. He knows everything of who is thinking in the entire universe, right? So Viditva Vishvatma, Krishna, who knows the pain that the Yadus are undergoing. How he knows? Because he's Vishvatma, right? So he who understood, who was aware of the pain that his devotees, who are the Yadus, they are his devotees. The pain that his devotees are undergoing. Why? What is the cause of their pain? Fear of Kamsa. Because of fear of Kamsa, the pain that his devotees are undergoing. Understanding this, Krishna, what did he do? He ordered Yogamaya. Okay. So, the words Bhagavan api Vishvatma viditva kamsajam bhayam. So, this pain is produced by ja means birth. Produced by what? Fear of Kamsa. So this is commented upon by Srila Sanatan Goswami. Bhagavan Swayam. So Bhagavan, why Bhagavan? To tell us that we are not talking of, again, it's a relative term, right? Of course, Bhagavan means, ultimately Bhagavan means only Krishna. Swayam Bhagavan we say. Swayam Bhagavan means only Krishna. And Krishna, who is that ultimate Bhagavan? Vrindavan Krishna. Yashoda Nandan Krishna. He is the ultimate name, ultimate word in absolute truth is Krishna, the son of Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. That is the last word in the name of absolute truth. Last word to the absolute truth. So that is Krishna. Of course, sometimes you use word Bhagavan relatively also, right? But when Krishna is present, then it can only be applied to Krishna. Okay. So here, why Bhagavan, Vishvatma, why Bhagavan is said, simply Vishvatma could have been said, right? Why Bhagavan is said? Because Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. So here this Bhagavan is indicating that this is Krishna who ordered Yogamaya, not anyone else. Okay. Bhagavan Swayam is Krishna. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. And he is Vishvatma, the original super soul of everyone. Yes, there is a super soul, but the original super soul, the super soul of everyone is Krishna, because he is the original. From him, everyone else expanded. So, he is Vishvatma, the original super soul of everyone, because his plenary portion is super soul. So then Srila Prabhupada is quoting Bhagavad Gita 13.3. Kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. So this is Paramatma. Paramatma, like Kshetragya. Kshetra means this material body. Gya means one who knows. One who knows this material body, who is that? There's actually two. There's two Kshetragyas. There is the individual soul and there is the super soul. Okay? So Kshetragyas, actually there are two. There is the individual soul and super soul. Here we are talking about the super soul. Kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. What is the difference between the individual soul and the super soul? Individual soul knows only that particular body, right? I am also Kshetragya, body is Kshetra, and I am in the heart, and I only can understand the pains and pleasures of this body. I cannot experience the pains and pleasures of your body or his body or her body. But if anyone pinches me immediately, I feel that. But if anyone pinches your hand, I don't feel that. That means my knowledge, my experience is limited to this body, that is individual soul. Whereas Paramatma, Sarva Kshetreshu, he is aware of what is happening in all the bodies. That is the difference between Paramatma and individual soul. So Srila Prabhupada is quoting this verse from Bhagavad Gita. Kshetram chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. This is Paramatma who knows about all bodies. So here Krishna is that Kshetragya super soul, not Paramatma, not Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, but here we are talking of Krishna. That will also be explained why. Because you see, what is the role of Paramatma? Paramatma's role is Paramatma is Upadrishta. Upadrishta means he's a witness of for everyone, regardless of whether someone is a devotee. Well, for all non-devotees, especially for all non-devotees and all living entities, all ants, insects, demigods, whoever it may be. There is Paramatma, and that Paramatma is a witness to all the activities of a person. And Anumanta, he's the one who sanctions, right? He's the one who releases energy to the various limbs of the body, both Dravya Shakti. Dravya Shakti means uh, Kriya Shakti, right? To do activity to your senses. Where is that power coming from? It's coming from Paramatma. And also Jnana Shakti. Jnana Shakti means to your knowledge acquiring senses. Understanding, oh, this is white, this is red, or this is hot, or this is cold. How I am able to experience and tell this? Because of Jnana Shakti given by Paramatma. Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti, all this is coming from Paramatma. And how Paramatma gives this? According to one's karma, that's all. There is no personal relationship that you are my devotee and therefore I am reciprocating. That type of relationship is not there. Paramatma is Udasin. Udasin means he's completely neutral. Is Krishna also neutral? Well, Krishna says, Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu, I'm equal to everyone. That's Paramatma. I'm equal to everyone, right? Everyone, according to their karma, they'll get. Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu. Name Dveshu Asti Na Priyaha. Nobody is my favorite and nobody is my enemy. I give everyone results according to their activities. But Ye Bhajanti tu Mam Bhaktya, one who serves him with bhakti, then this equal to everyone is thrown out of the window. Maiteteshu chapyaham. He's in me, I'm in him. That means I'm not equal now. If somebody becomes my devotee, I become partial to that person. That means if someone is my pure devotee, if anyone else considers my devotee his enemy, I will destroy that person. I will consider that person to be my enemy. That person may not have done anything to me personally, but if he hates my devotee, I will destroy that person. This is partiality, of course, isn't it? He's partial to his devotees. Anyone who is rendering loving devotional service to Krishna, your devotees, yes. Then, like Prahlad Maharaj, then Hiranyakashipu, he's torturing Prahlad Maharaj. Shingdev came and he didn't become satisfied until he killed Hiranyakashipu. So then what happened to his equality there? Right? I'm equal to everyone. Then why he's killing Hiranyakashipu? He shouldn't kill Hiranyakashipu. Right? But he's killing. This is the Lord, Bhagavan. So, Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdate. Absolute truth is understood as Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. Bhagavan is the last word in the name of absolute truth. The last word in absolute truth is Bhagavan. How does that Bhagavan relate to devotees? And how does Paramatma relate to the living entities? Paramatma is neutral to everyone, but Bhagavan is not neutral. Bhagavan is very, very affectionate. He is Bhakta Vatsala. When someone renders devotional service, he is like completely conquered by that person's bhakti. Krishna is controlled by the bhakti of his devotees. He literally becomes controlled, like the gopis, they make him dance, he'll dance the way they want him to dance. Completely controlled. Like a puppet, he becomes a puppet in their hands. Hands of who? Pure devotees. Premi bhaktas especially, right? He's controlled by them. Another example is Arjun. Arjun controlled Krishna, right? He's telling Krishna, take my chariot here, take my chariot there. He's even kicking sometimes in the battle because there's no time to actually speak. He's like, about Arjun, when he was fighting, it is said so fast he was, you couldn't see when he's taking the arrow out, when he's shooting, and he's Atiratha. That means Atirathi. That means simultaneously he's fighting with tens of thousands of warriors, chariot warriors, single-handedly he is fighting. So where is the time to talk to Krishna? Take me here, take me there. So he would just, if he wants to go left, he would kick Krishna with his left leg. And if he wants to go right, he would kick Krishna with his right leg. And Krishna would take that cue and he would just go this way and that way as a chariot driver. Why? Because Arjun had prema bhakti, he had prema for Krishna, and Krishna becomes completely subservient to the love of his premi bhaktas. He's controlled by them. He'll do whatever for them. That's the highest possible achievable goal, is to get love for Krishna. And of course, it won't come easily. Something which is most valuable, you have to pay price for that, right? It's not so cheap. It's not cheap. But once you get it, Krishna is controlled. So this is Krishna's dealing with his devotees. It's not like Paramatma's dealing with living entities. But even this Paramatma realization, is it easy? No. Panthastu koti shatavatsara sampragamyo vayo rathapi manaso muni pungavanam. Munis, they control their breath, right? For many koti shatavatsara, hundreds and crores of years, they are practicing controlling their breath, restraining their breath. Why? Simply to realize that Paramatma. Is it easy to realize Paramatma? No. Then what to speak of realizing Bhagavan? But actually, realizing Bhagavan is much, much easier than realizing Paramatma. Because in bhakti, we progress by the mercy of Krishna, by the mercy of Krishna and his devotees. We have to do little bit, right? We have to do little bit to get entrance and to somehow or other cross anartha nivritti. After that, we are simply pulled, we are carried by Krishna's mercy. There's not much that we do. We get prema simply by the mercy, right? But anyway, so I was just telling you the difference between Paramatma's dealings with the living entities and Bhagavan's dealing. So who is it that is ordering Yogamaya here? Who is ordering? Is it Paramatma ordering Yogamaya? Why would Paramatma be concerned of Devaki's or the Yadu's fears and Yadu's troubles? Paramatma is neutral. He is Udasin. Why would he be concerned? Isn't it? So Lord Krishna is Kshetragya or super soul of all living entities. He is the original source of all expansions of the personality of Godhead. There are hundreds and thousands of plenary expansions of Vishnu, such as Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Chaturvyuha, Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, right? But here in this material world, within the material world, who is Vishvatma? Within the material, who is Paramatma? The super soul for all living entities is Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. Okay? Within the universe, the super soul for all living entities means for all living entities are mentioned. That means individually for every living entity, all the living entities, right? This is Vyashti Paramatma. There is Samishti and Vyashti. Vyashti means individual. I'm sorry. Vyashti means individual. Paramatma for each and every individual. Vyashti means together for the entire universe taken as one unit. Who is the Paramatma? Garbhodakashaya Vishnu. That is Vyashti Paramatma. I'm sorry, that is Samishti. Samishti, right? Paramatma means for the whole universe, and individually for each person, the Paramatma is Vyashti Paramatma. So, who is the Paramatma for all living entities? Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. I stated in Bhagavad Gita 1861. Same, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hridesh Arjuna Tishtati. This is Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, who is sitting in the hearts of all living entities. So Krishna, here when it is said Vishvatma, this Vishvatma is Krishna. Why? Because of Krishna's dealings we can understand, right? He came out of concern for the devotee. And we already saw in the first chapter, beginning verses, these Yadus are all pure devotees. There's no question of them being mixed devotees or anything. They're all pure devotees of the Lord. So, uh, now you may get another question, but we say that the expansions of demigods have come, but we discussed it at length when we were discussing there. So those demigods who were actually devotees, who wanted to be, who wanted to participate in the Lord's Leela, right? The devotee demigods, they were the ones, and their expansions have come to take part in the Lord's Leela, like that. But anyway, the Yadus are all devotees of the Lord, no doubt about that. They're all pure devotees of the Lord. So then, Paramatma is becoming concerned about the devotees. No, you cannot take that. This is Krishna, and Krishna is the one who's addressed as Vishvatma, right? Krishna, why is called Vishvatma? Because this Kshirodakashayi Vishnu is none other than an expansion of Krishna. So no problem. You can call him by any name. You can call Krishna Rama, Varaha, Nrsimha, no problem. They're all his expansions only. Okay? So Krishna is actually Vishvatma by his plenary expansion as Vishnu Tattva, yet because of his affection for his devotees. Ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya maite teshu chapyaham. This shows Krishna's bhaktavatsalata, right? His partiality towards his devotees, his affection for his devotees, right? Because of his affection for his devotees, he acts as super soul to give them directions. Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishto matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. Of course, it's not that, once we become devotees, then what happens when one becomes a devotee? Krishna is personally acting as Paramatma for that devotee. Again, when we say devotee means, please always remember pure devotees, right? Anya abhilashita shunyam jnana ye yathamam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham. The extent to which we allow Krishna to take over our lives, to that extent he will take over. The extent to which we are completely dependent on Krishna, to that extent he is taking charge of our lives, right? And the extent to which we want to still control our lives, to that extent he doesn't interfere. There he acts as Paramatma only, neutrally. You understand? But for one who is completely surrendered, like Ananyas Chintayanto Mam Ye Jana Paryupasate Tesham Nityabhiyuktanam Yogakshemam Vahamyaham, that is a pure unalloyed devotee, Ananya Bhakta. For such a devotee, it's Krishna only reciprocating with that devotee. Oh, what to speak of his karma, Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti, even his food and water, shelter, everything Krishna is personally taking care. Like, if you have like children, for children, little children, they don't worry about, oh, the rent is not paid this month or next month. Where will I go next month? Is the child worrying? Child is completely my father will take care of it. I don't have to worry. I'll just stick with my father. That's the position of a devotee. He doesn't worry even for his where he's going to get his food, next meal, or nothing. No fears. He's completely. And for such a devotee, Krishna is always, literally looking out for that devotee like a mother. All of you are mothers. So a little child, right? Always looking out. What happened? I hope my child doesn't, meet with any danger, get into any trouble, won't put any coins in the mouth or something, right? Like that, Krishna is always looking out for his Ananya Bhakta, pure devotees. What to speak of providing for their food and shelter. He is worrying. He is worrying. The devotee doesn't worry. He is only concerned about Ananya Bhakti, always rendering devotional service. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karma dhyanavritam anukulena krishnanu shilanam. That's his only concern. How to please Krishna, how to serve Krishna. Simply loving Krishna 24/7. That is his only activity, his only meditation, nothing else. How I will get my thing, he doesn't worry. For such a devotee, then what is the role of Paramatma? Krishna himself becomes Paramatma for him. Like that. So here Vishvatma Krishna And here the dealings are with his devotees, the Yadus. So it is Krishna only who is concerned. So Vishwatma, that's Vishwatma is Krishna here, right? Krishna is actually Vishwatma by his normally, for those who are not devotees, by his plenary expansion as Vishnu Tattva, he is Vishwatma. But because here it's about his devotees, right? Then he acts, pay attention, he acts, he himself is acting as super soul. He is not the super soul. Krishna is not the super soul. He has nothing to do with, maintenance of this world, and that's not his business at all. Krishna is only interested in his devotees, dealings with his devotees. He's always engaged in with his Ananya Bhaktas, right? But for his Ananya Bhaktas, he even acts as a super soul for them to give them directions. Then he plays like the Paramatma, Sarvasya Chaham Hridi Sannimishto Mattas Pratirgyanamapun. What is not possible for Krishna? Can we limit Krishna to anything? Oh, you're not Paramatma. Why you're playing the role of Paramatma? That's not your duty. Can you say that? You cannot say. Okay. The affairs of the super soul, that means Paramatma, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu's duties, functions. The affairs of the super soul pertain to Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, but Krishna, taking compassion on Devaki, who is Devaki? His pure devotee. And why he took compassion? He understood the fear or the pain that she is experiencing because of fear of Kamsa's persecution. She was experiencing fear. So therefore, seeing her pain, Krishna took compassion on her. One thing here about this fear of Kamsa's persecution, this fear is very important. Srila Prabhupada is explaining in the purport. So, okay, there's some explanation here. When we render pure devotional service, when we render bhakti, or in other words, sadhana bhakti, when we do sadhana bhakti, within the womb of sadhana bhakti, there are the 6 objects of the senses. Try to understand. Within the womb of sadhana bhakti, there are the 6 objects of the senses. What are the 6 senses? Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin, and mind. 6 senses. What are the objects of these senses? For eyes, form. For ears, sound. For nose, smell. For skin, touch. For tongue, taste. And for mind, what is the object of sense for mind? Mamatvam. Mamatvam means this is mine. This is mine. Right? I and mine. Mine. Mama. Mamata, you say, right? That is the sense object for the mind. What this means is, when you render sadhana bhakti means, of course, it's pure devotional service, nectar of devotion. Klesha Agni Shubhada, right? All your miseries, material miseries are removed. If you perform sadhana bhakti properly, if you're actually performing Shuddha Bhakti, pure devotional service, then you will, by the power of that bhakti, you will get all these 6 objects of the senses. Anything which is enjoyable in this world will have these 6 components. For example, let's say you get a beautiful wife, right? You do nice bhakti and you get a very qualified, beautiful, qualified wife. That means, her form is very beautiful, Her sound is very pleasing, so on and so forth, like that. So 6 types of pleasures. What is the result? What is the result of the senses coming in contact with sense objects? You get pleasure, isn't it? It's pleasing. You get pleasure. When the eyes come in contact with a very beautiful form, eyes become pleased. When the tongue comes in contact with a nice taste, the tongue gets pleasure. When the ears come in contact with a very nice sound, the ears get pleasure, right? And when the mind, when you get something which you can claim as this is mine, then your mind gets pleasure. That means these objects of senses are giving you pleasure. They're giving you pleasure. So, when you perform sadhana bhakti, Shuddha bhakti, very nicely, the natural consequence will be your material miseries will be removed and you will get so many material pleasures. You'll get material pleasures. Shubhada, all auspicious things will come to you. And Kleshagni, all miseries are removed. Material miseries are removed and you'll get wealth, you'll get post, position, name, fame, so on and so forth. How you're getting these? Because of your past pious activities? No. You're getting these because of your bhakti. As a result of your bhakti, you're getting these things. Then what should a bhakta do when these things come to him? What should you do? Should you say that, oh, by bhakti I'm getting all this, so very nice, let me enjoy? What will happen if you accept? You'll get fame, okay? Everyone will say, wow, you're such a wonderful devotee. Or you make garlands so nicely. Or you sing so beautifully. You cook so wonderfully, so on and so forth. How you're able to do such wonderful things? You're able to do those wonderful things, and here specifically we are talking about that's different. Being able to do wonderful things, that is different. That is bhakti. But we are talking about the pleasure that is coming, material, name, fame that you're getting. Because of doing wonderful, that gift, right, wonderful gift of being able to do wonderful service to Krishna, that's no problem. That's very good. But the name, fame, wealth, following that you get as a result of doing your bhakti, these things are actually considered as anarthas. They're considered as anarthas. You know why? Anartha means unwanted things. Artha means that which has meaning. Anartha means meaningless. That means it's useless there, like weeds in a field, rice field. You may have a wheat plant, gehu, wheat plant in a rice field. Wheat plant may be a good plant, it gives wheat, but in rice field that wheat is considered a weed. Why? Because it doesn't belong there. There's no need of a wheat plant or a corn plant in rice field. It may have some value, but there it is unwanted. So similarly, name, fame, glory, wealth, so on and so forth, which are so much hankered after by conditioned souls, you get when you start performing sadhana bhakti very nicely, all these things will come to you. But they are considered to be anarthas. Why? Because you see, by performing sadhana bhakti, your goal is what? You want to get love of Godhead, you want to go to Golok Vrindavan Dham. So it's like a tree which is growing straight, like a palm tree, let's say, or here like a pine tree, right? It's going straight. So it wants to go to the topmost, to Goloka. But meanwhile, as it is growing, these side branches are coming. What are these branches? Name, fame, wealth, so many side branches. Now, if you start enjoying them, your energy instead of being put in going to the top, it's putting your energy is being diverted to these side branches, and the tree will start growing laterally. Sometimes you will see here also some pine trees. It's weird, actually, it's strange. I have seen in Morrisville there are many pine trees. They just look like some mango tree or something with so many side branches. Generally our idea of pine trees, coniferous trees, is they just go straight up, right? But you will see some trees, they have so many side branches. They don't grow tall, they just look like a, you know, like a deciduous tree, some other tree, like that. So we lose our goal, and we start to enjoy the results that come from bhakti. And then what will happen? We will we will simply be expanding. That means all the energy of that bhakti, the sadhana bhakti that we are using it, we are spending it to get material results. Certainly, bhakti produces material results. If you accept them, that means you've used that for material. So you're not growing straight. Your bhakti is not moving forward. You're just accepting all these material results. Then, what should a sadhaka means a bhakta who is practicing sadhana. What should he do when he sees these things coming? What should be his consciousness? He should experience fear in his heart. When you get recognition, when you get following, when you get wealth, right? Name and a big position, so on and so forth. When these things start coming, by dint of your sadhana bhakti, when these things start coming, how should you feel? How should the devotee feel? What should he experience? He should experience tremendous fear in his heart. What is that fear? These anarthas, all these you know results, they are actually going to throw me, they're going to throw me into the deep dark well of samsara. Once again, I'm coming from there only. By the mercy of pure devotees, somehow I got some shraddha and bhakti. I just started chanting, and now this name, fame, money, following, huh? in this chakkar, now I will lose my bhakti. Once again, these things will throw me back into the deep dark well of material existence. Like this, he should feel great fear. He should experience this fear. It is essential. That means when you see these things coming, if you're not experiencing fear in your heart, means you're going in the opposite direction. Your energy is being spent. Just remember that trees example. The lateral branches are growing. They're just spreading in this material world, nicely expanding, making your empire in this material world. Nice, comfortable home, and family, and nice job, and so on and so forth. Just I'm doing bhakti, and everyone is healthy, and everything is going nicely. You're satisfied with that. So you lose your goal of prema, Krishna prema. You will not get that if you get caught up in these things. So this fear is essential. Fear has to come. And when this fear comes, what will happen? Naturally, when there is fear, what do? You try to get away from the thing that is causing that fear, isn't it? If there's a fire and you're experiencing fear from that fire, what will you do? You'll try to put out that fire, or just run from there, save your life. Like that, when you see these things coming, you should actually be experiencing fear, and then out of fear, you will leave those things. You will not accept those results. Never mind those results come, but you will not touch them. You don't want them. You see them as danger when they come. You become scared. You become alarmed. My God, I don't want. Like that. You should. You should. It is essential. Then what will happen? If you get this type of fear, then you will leave those results that are coming. Right? You will continue with your sadhana. You will you have overcome those anarthas. That means now you have overcome those anarthas. What will happen like this? After you overcome all these anarthas, this bhakti will now increase. What is the form of this increased bhakti? The form of this increased bhakti is, it is full of service. Now, at every moment, every second, you are only absorbed in service to Krishna. And what type of service? Of course, Anyabhilashita Shunyam. You're not just hankering or you're desiring, you have to do. No, you will be. You will be completely in service. Always. So this type of bhakti is called prema bhakti. That means, so this is the way how one progresses from sadhana bhakti and overcomes anarthas, and after overcoming anarthas he will get prema for Krishna, and in that heart where there is prema, who will appear? Krishna will appear. That means when you have Krishna prema, when you have love for Krishna, you will get darshan of Krishna. You will actually see Krishna. You will hear Krishna. You will touch Krishna. So this is the flow. This is the path in which one is supposed to progress in bhakti. So that fear, there's a lot of like we'll be discussing this further in the next few verses also. But I gave you some. I explained a portion of it today. Okay. So here, once again, let's read this paragraph. The affairs of the super soul pertain to Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, but Krishna took compassion on Devaki, his devotee, because he understood her fear. So Devaki is experiencing fear. Fear of Kamsa's persecution. A pure devotee is always fearful of material existence. No one knows what will happen next, for one may have to change his body at any moment. Tatha dehantara prapti. Knowing this fact, a pure devotee acts in such a way that he will not have his life spoiled by being obliged to accept another body. That's material existence. Remember, once you start enjoying these results, those lateral branches are growing, means you're just growing, expanding in this material world. That means tatha dehantara praptir, you'll get another material body, because now you're in this material world only. You're enjoying material results, means you'll stay in the material world. Knowing this fact, a pure devotee acts in such a way that he will not have his life spoiled by being obliged to accept another body. Why I'm being obliged to accept another body? Simply because I'm accepting those results that are coming from bhakti. So he becomes very careful, right? He becomes careful that this small little enjoyment may not spoil my life, and may not make me take another material body again and undergo tribulations of material existence. So this is the fear. This is bhayam or fear of a pure devotee. Bhayam dvitiya abhiniveshatah syat. Right? So fear. This fear is due to material existence. Properly speaking, everyone should always be alert and fearful of material existence. But although everyone is prone to be affected by the ignorance of material, actually we should all be fearful, but we are prone to be affected by ignorance, so we forget. We are all forgetful because of the influence of avidya. So Krishna is so merciful. He's always making us alert, right? He's always alert to protect his devotees. Protect from what? Protection against this fall down, right? Krishna is so kind and affectionate toward his devotees that he helps them by giving them the intelligence, right? Don't do this. This is not right, right? By which to exist in this material world without forgetting him even for a moment. Again, Krishna will only speak to us. Krishna will speak to us when we start Shuddha Bhakti. Always remember that. Before that, no, you'll hear Paramatma. But Krishna will speak after we become a devotee. And devotee means Anyabhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadhyana Anukulena Krishnanashilanam. So, Tesham Evanukampartam Aham Agyanajam Tamaha Nashayami Atma Bhavastu Gyana Deepena Bhasvata. Out of compassion for them, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy the shining lamp of knowledge, the darkness born of ignorance. That means because of ignorance, we may forget our material, we may forget to be fearful of material existence. But Krishna, out of compassion, from within our heart, he will remind us, right? And he will destroy this ignorance. That means when ignorance is destroyed, uh, uh, mattaha smritir jnanam apohanam cha, right? So from him only jnanam is coming, smriti, remembrance is also coming. Remembrance of what? That this material world, is not the place to live. Don't become comfortable in this material world. So Krishna is giving us. Why he is doing that? He does it only to his devotees, mind you. Why he does that? Because of his compassion for his devotees. So similarly here also, out of compassion for Devaki, Krishna is ordering Yogamaya. Okay. Then what is this Yogamaya? Yoga means linking, right? Connecting. Any system of yoga is an attempt to reconnect our broken relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yes, yoga means linking, reconnecting with the Supreme. So that process which connects us with the Supreme is yoga. So you have Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. The goal of all yogas is to connect us with the Absolute. That's the whole purpose. Any system of yoga is an attempt to reconnect our broken relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are different types of yoga, but of all yogas, yoginamapi sarvesham madgate nantaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamo mataha. Right? The best of all is that yoga in which the devotee is always thinking of Krishna within his heart at every moment. That's the best. That's Bhakti Yoga. Right? In Bhakti Yoga also, that stage where he's always constantly seeing the Supreme Lord within his heart. Right? That is the best. So there are different types of yoga, of which Bhakti Yoga is the best. In other yoga systems, one must undergo various processes before attaining perfection. But Bhakti Yoga is direct. Yeah. So what is the goal of Karma Yoga? Well, Karma Yoga means Nishkam Karma Yoga, right? Because if you do only karma, Sakama Karma, you cannot call it really yoga. You know why? Sakama Karma means you want the results of your karma. Sakama means what? You want to enjoy the results of what you're doing, material results. How is it yoga? Is it connecting you with Krishna? Sakama Karma, is it connecting you with Krishna? It's not connecting you with Krishna. Well, indirectly you're being obedient, you're following the rules and regulations which are enjoined in shastras, okay, to that extent. So gradually, very long process, but nevertheless your interest is what? You want to enjoy material results. So that's a very long one. But the next one, Nishkama Karma Yoga. What is the goal of Nishkama Karma Yoga? You do your karma, but you don't accept the results of your karma. Just like you work the whole month, but you don't take salary. This is Nishkam Karma. You don't take salary, but you just work. Then why you're doing that? Why are you doing karma? Just to get detachment, to get purification of your heart, so that you become detached. So the goal of Nishkama Karma Yoga is Antakarna Shuddhi. Okay? So you will follow Nishkama Karma until you get that result. As soon as you get Antakarna Shuddhi, there's no need to do Nishkama Karma. You can give up. You start Jnana Sadhanas. Then Jnana Yoga also is a procedure. You follow Jnana Sadhanas, but only up to a certain point. Right? Once you get this Aikya Jnanam. What is Aikya Jnanam? Jnanam means Tat Padartha Jnanam, Tvam Padartha Jnanam, and Tattvam Aikya Jnanam. So Tat Padartha Jnanam means knowledge about Brahman. The absolute truth is Brahman. Tvam Padartha Jnanam means I'm not this body, I'm a spirit soul. Aikya Jnanam means I and that Brahman are one. This is called Jnanam. So to achieve this, they follow certain, there's a procedure to be followed in Jnana sadhana. Like Bhakti sadhana, you have sadhana. Jnanis also, they have a sadhana that they practice. But the goal is, by practicing, you will realize at one stage, you will realize this Aikya Jnanam. You'll understand, I am that Brahman. After that, there's no more Jnana sadhanas. There's no more. You stop there. Similarly, Ashtanga Yoga. You follow Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dhyana, Dhar. But once you get Samadhi, do you practice anything else in Ashtanga Yoga? Once you Samadhi means now you are fixed. Your consciousness is fixed on Paramatma. Do you have to follow anything? No. No need. Whereas Bhakti, from day one, when you're chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare, you're directly in touch with Krishna. It's not that first you follow and then ultimately you get the result. No. From day one, you're directly in touch with the Supreme Lord. As soon as you chant. And while you're practicing, you're directly in touch with the Supreme Lord. And the best part is there is no end to it. It's not like this is the result and it's finished. Is it that, okay, we say our goal is to get prema, Krishna prema. So after we get Krishna prema, what do? Finished. No more bhakti. No. Just now I said, prema means what is the form of prema? Full of service. What are all the devotees doing in Goloka? Constantly engaged in service of Radha Krishna. The gopis, the manjaris, always 24/7 they're engaged. Well, there's no 24/7 there. No time in the spiritual world. But they're always continuously engaged in the service of the Lord. This is bhakti. So bhakti, there is no end. There is no end to bhakti. And from the beginning, you're directly in touch with the Lord. So that is why this bhakti is the best form of all yogas. All the other yogas, first of all, you have to follow some procedure. And by following that procedure, you come to you achieve the result. There is a result. Once you get that result, you don't follow the procedure. Finished. But bhakti, you continue. This chanting which I start now, to come out of the material existence, to develop prema, to go back to Godhead and whatever, I will continue chanting eternally, even if after I go back to Godhead, even after I get Krishna prema, eternally I will be chanting. Kolokera prema dhana, Harinam Sankirtan. This Harinam Sankirtan is the means and it is also the end. This is Golokera prema dhana. This is the wealth of the prema of Goloka. What? Harinam Sankirtan. So this is the glory of bhakti. So, in other yoga systems, one must undergo various processes before attaining perfection. But Bhakti Yoga is direct. The Lord says, Yoginam api sarvesham, of all yogis, he who always abides in me with great faith, worshipping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. Who? A bhakta, a devotee, a pure devotee of the Lord. And even in that, one who's always able to see Krishna within his heart, right? He's the best. This is the last verse of the 6th chapter, and the first verse of the 7th chapter says, Maya Asakta Mano Partha Yogam Yunjan Madashraya. That means, which bhakta are we talking about in this verse? Bhakta who is in the stage of Asakti. Maya Asakta Manah Partha. Right? Asakti. This is the connection between 6th and 7th chapters. The devotee that we are talking about in Yoginam api sarvesham is a devotee in Asakti stage. And that's where the 7th chapter begins also, from the devotee in Asakti stage. So, Bhakti Yogi is the topmost, especially the Bhakti Yogi who has come to the stage of Asakti, attachment for Krishna. For the Bhakti Yogi, a human body is guaranteed in his next existence, as stated by Lord Krishna. Shuchinam Srimatam Gehe Yoga Brashto Bijayate. Even if you fall down, right? Even if you have not achieved Asakti stage, but if you just started the practice and you fell down because you didn't get proper Shraddha, never mind. At least you'll get a human body. So bhakti is so nice. Karma, can you say like that? You start karma, let's say you learn programming, right? You learned something and then you died. So in your next life, you'll remember everything. No, you have to start all over again, A, B, C, D. It's not like that in karma. In jnana, is it like that? No. But in bhakti, yes. You'll get a human form of, at least you'll get a human form. And not only that, after getting human form, you're given opportunities to once again reconnect. So this is yoga. Yoga means to connect with the Supreme. So why we are studying about yoga here? Krishna ordered Yoga Maya to do something. What he's ordering, we will see in the next verses. Yoga Maya is the spiritual potency of the Lord. Out of affection for his devotees, the Lord always stays in spiritual touch with them, although otherwise his Maya potency is so strong that she bewilders even exalted demigods like Brahma. Therefore, the Lord's potency is called Yoga Maya. Since the Lord is Vishwatma, he immediately ordered Yoga Maya to give protection to Devaki. That means this Yoga Maya, she has many vrittis or many expansions by different names, and each one has a separate function. And this Mahamaya is also an expansion of Yogamaya only. So Yogamaya, she's connecting the devotees with Krishna, bringing the devotees to Krishna, right? And of course, Mahamaya, she deals with those who are non-devotees, punishing them. As Durga Devi, she's punishing them with her trident. So the Lord is ordering this Yogamaya that he's giving her some seva, some service to do. What it is, that we will see tomorrow. What is the service given by Krishna to Yogamaya, and why he's telling Yogamaya to do something here? Out of affection for his devotees. What is that? The devotees are suffering. Devaki is suffering. What is her suffering? She's experiencing fear from Kamsa. So Krishna is feeling affection for his devotee who is feeling pain. So to relieve that pain of his devotees, he is ordering his maidservant Yogamaya to go and do something, right? So the Lord always stays in spiritual touch with his devotees. He always stays in touch with his devotees, right? Otherwise, his Maya potency is so strong. Daivi Hesha Gudamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya. Right? That Maya potency is so strong, she bewilders the living entities, keeps them away from the Lord. That means they don't want to, right? Those who are interested, those who have even a tinge of desire to enjoy material existence, then Mahamaya, she deals with them, keeps them here. But if anyone takes full shelter, surrenders to Krishna, then Yogamaya is connecting them. So the Lord is always in touch with the devotees through Yogamaya. So we can stop Srimad Bhagavatam reading here today, and we will discuss this. This discussion will continue in the next couple of verses also about Lord Balaramji, and also this whole incident of Devaki's giving birth to 8 babies, right? How this is a demonstration of the flow of bhakti. So that has to be explained further. I mean, we saw a little bit, we didn't see the connection, but today we just saw the flow of bhakti, right? We saw the flow of bhakti, and then we'll see how that is this Devaki's delivering first 6 sons, then Lord Balaram's appearance, and then Lord Krishna's appearance, how all this is actually demonstrating the flow of bhakti. That connection we will see. So let us read Bhagavad Gita now, Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 2, text 38. So text 38, if you remember, I told you yesterday, from here onwards, Buddhi Yoga, Krishna is instructing about Buddhi Yoga now. Until now, it was karma, right? Sakam karma. Krishna said, you are Kshatriya, and for Kshatriya, if you do your duty, whether you get killed or you kill your enemies, both are good. Because if you kill your enemies, you'll enjoy your you'll enjoy the kingdom on earth, and if you are killed, then you'll go to heavens. That means you get material enjoyment in both cases. What is this? Material enjoyment means what? Sakam karma or karma kanda. So Krishna explained from karma kanda's perspective between texts 31 and 37. Now text 38 begins a new topic. This is Buddhi Yoga. You should still do your duty, not because you want enjoyment, but for a higher purpose. That Krishna will begin to explain from text 38. Please repeat after me. Sukha dukkhe same kritva लाभा लाभौ जया जयौ ततो युद्धाय युज्यस्व नैवं पापम अवाप्स्यसि. Do thou fight for the sake of fighting, without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so doing you shall never incur sin. So this is a different angle now. Previously Krishna said just fight. You'll be a winner in both cases. You'll enjoy. Right? Now Krishna is saying don't consider happiness or distress, victory or defeat, loss or gain. Don't consider, and still you should fight. Why? That Krishna will explain in this whole section. Okay? Do thou fight for the sake of fighting, without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so doing you shall never incur sin. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Lord Krishna now directly says that Arjun should fight for the sake of fighting. Fight simply for the sake of fighting. Because Krishna desires the battle. Why I should fight Krishna? Because I am telling you to fight. That's why. Just fight. Okay? Krishna is saying, Arjun, you should fight because I am desiring this battle. I want this battle to happen. So you just fight. There is no consideration of happiness or distress, profit or loss, victory or defeat in the activities of Krishna consciousness. That everything should be performed for the sake of Krishna is transcendental consciousness. So now we are coming to transcendental consciousness, right? Doing work for the sake of Krishna, not considering profit or loss, honor or dishonor, fame or infamy, not considering all these things, but simply doing it because Krishna wants me to do it, right? For the sake of Krishna. This is transcendental consciousness. Then, if you do like that, so there is no reaction to material activities. These activities are not material. There won't be any reaction. He who acts for his own sense gratification, either in goodness or in passion, is subject to the reaction, good or bad. But he who has completely surrendered himself in the activities of Krishna consciousness is no longer obliged to anyone, nor is he a debtor to anyone, as one is in the ordinary course of activities. So, activity is still the same. There are Kshatriyas who are fighting on the battlefield. But if the purpose of your fighting is you want to win that kingdom and you want to enjoy it, so that your family will have, a bigger kingdom and so on and so forth. With that intention, if you're fighting, are you going to get a reaction? Yes. And there's another person who's also a Kshatriya, who's also fighting, but he's not fighting because he wants something. He's simply fighting because this is the duty of a Kshatriya. I should just fight, right? As a matter of duty, he's doing, not accepting the results. Then are the results going to bind him? No, they will not bind him. Simply by his mentally giving up the results. Mentally means, of course, even physically, if he accepts, he has no attachment to them. Just for namesake, he may take, but he's not depending on those results. For such a person, he's not subject to the reaction. The activities may be done in goodness or passion. Kshatriyas are in passion, Brahmanas are in goodness, right? But the activities can be in goodness or passion. Those activities will not bind you to this material world. But he who has completely surrendered himself in the activities of Krishna consciousness is no longer obliged to anyone, nor is he a debtor to anyone, as one is in the ordinary course of activities. It is said, Devarshi bhutapta nrinam pitrinam na kinkaro nayam rini cha rajan sarvatmanaya sharanam sharanyam gato mukundam parihritya kartam. Anyone who has completely surrendered unto Krishna Mukunda, giving up all other duties, is no longer a debtor, nor is he obliged to anyone, not the demigods, nor the sages, nor the people in general, nor kinsmen, nor humanity, nor forefathers. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 5th chapter, text 41. Okay? Normally, anyone who takes birth, we're talking about human beings, who takes birth as a human being on this earth, simply by taking birth, he incurs debts. Debts. He becomes a debtor to the demigods. Why? Because the demigods are the ones who are sending us rain, they're giving us air, light. You're taking, nothing is free in this material world, nothing is free. We think air is free, light is free. No. When you take anything for free, you have to pay back. You have to pay back. That is why yagya uh, is not recommended, instructed. You must do yagya. When you do yagya, what are you doing? You're offering something to those demigods. They're giving me those gifts. In return, I'm offering them. And if you don't offer anything to the demigods, if you simply take those gifts, what is Krishna calling them? What does Krishna call the people who don't offer to the demigods? They take all these gifts, light, air, water, everything from demigods, but he doesn't return them to the demigods. What is Krishna calling them?
Thief.
Thief. Yes, you're a thief. So therefore, even if you're not a devotee, at least yagya has to be done if you're not a devotee. That is essential. If you don't, then you become indebted. It's like, those who take loans and they don't pay back, interest is getting accumulated, and they are coming, the people who have loaned you, they come and they knock on your door. Life becomes miserable. Like that. So much debt we are incurring. This is only from demigods. Not only demigods, so many debts we have. We have debt to the family in which we take birth. The type of body I have, the health that I have, the beauty that I have, the intelligence that I have, all this is coming from that lineage. Those genes are there, right? That particular family. So I'm indebted to my forefathers, to that dynasty. Then I have to repay their debt also. How I will repay the debt to my forefathers? By continuing that line. Of course, girls, they don't have that. They have to give children to their husband's dynasty. But boys, they have that debt. They have to marry and they have to produce a son who will continue that lineage of forefathers. Only when you produce a son, not simply producing a son, he will continue the lineage. Okay, that is there. That is to the ancestors, to the family members. Continuing the dynasty, that is there. Produce a son. But there's one more role of the son. Sons perform Shraddha. By the Shraddha, those ancestors who are in Pitraloka, they are getting their food. Because of this Shraddha, they are nourished and they are able to, their stay in the Pitraloka is continued. They can live nicely, comfortably. But if the son is not performing the Shraddha ceremony, then the forefathers become very weak. We see this in Mahabharata. There's a story of Jaratkaru. Jaratkaru is one a person, a sage, uh, a Brahmana, but he didn't get married, right? He didn't marry, and now he's an old man, and he's just, I forget what it is called, the vritti, right? He's just traveling. They don't stay in one place. This particular type of Brahmana, the sages, they just travel in forests here and there, completely renounced, performing severe austerities. He never got married. And his forefathers, they were all becoming weak, on the verge of death practically. Finally, they all decided to come to Jaratkaru in the form of, they were like hanging upside down on a thin branch that was just about to, fall down. That means they were on the verge of death practically, just about to die. And Jaratkaru saw them. He said, "Who are you? Like small little people hanging down upside down. Who are you? What, you know?" And then they said, "We are your own forefathers." Then we are suffering because you didn't produce, you're not continuing our lineage. Nobody is there to perform Shraddha for us. So this is the debt one has to forefathers. If you don't fulfill that debt, then also you become a, a debtor, right? You're indebted. You didn't pay your debts yet. So if you remain a debtor like this, you cannot progress. You cannot go to higher regions. Pandu Maharaj had this problem. when he went to the forest with Kunti and Madri, because of killing Kindam Rishi and his wife, who were in the body of a deer. They were engaged in procreating. They were in the middle of sex. And he saw them as deer. He just shot the arrow and he killed. So Kindam Rishi cursed Pandu Maharaj that you should not, when you try to procreate from your wives, you will die. So as a result, Pandu Maharaj could not produce any children. But he was engaging in so many sacrifices with ascetic sages that he was completely living like a sage himself, so pure, so powerful, so austere. And when all these sages were ascending to go to Brahmaloka, Pandu could not go. And then the sages said, you have not paid your debt to your ancestors. How? How do I pay my debt? You didn't produce a son. Only when you produce a son will you be allowed to go. So like this, everyone has debts. Every person who takes birth will have debt. This is debt to forefathers. There is debt to demigods. There is debt to people in general. We are all dependent on each other, isn't it? In a society, everyone is dependent on each other. Just like, you don't produce your own clothes. You don't grow your own food. One person is growing food, another person is weaving cloth, someone else is making pots. So everyone is interdependent. You have debts to each other. So you have to repay. And what to speak of birds and cows and animals? So you have to feed. That's why you see some families, like pious families, the Marwadi families, you see they feed birds. They buy grains and they feed birds. And also, the last, after you eat, they make one roti to feed to the cow in the end, or to the dog they give, like that. They give. Actually, to the cow you give first, to the dog you give in the end. Like this. But you have to feed the different living entities to repay the debt that you have to all these living, to all the other people in general, to your family members. That's what I told you. The dynasty has to continue. And also your siblings, your family, you have a debt. And to humanity, to forefathers. Like this, we all have debts. Anyone who takes birth has debts. And if you don't repay these debts, it will block your progress. But what is Srimad Bhagavatam saying? So nice. Anyone who has completely surrendered to Krishna. So this is important. You should surrender to Krishna completely, not little bit. Completely. If you surrender to Krishna completely, he takes care of all your debts. He just squares up everything. You're not indebted to anyone, not to the demigods, not to, no karma. Everything is cleared if you completely surrender to Krishna. So nice, no? So that is the indirect hint given by Krishna to Arjun in this verse, and the matter will be more clearly explained in the following verses. So if you surrender to Krishna, what is Krishna saying? Simply fight. Why you should fight? Uh, for the sake of fighting, right? You should not because of getting some result or anything. You just do it for the sake of doing. That means this is nishkam karma, actually. Of course, Srila Prabhupada is explaining from the perspective of Krishna consciousness. Because directly Krishna is instructing Arjun here. So Prabhupada is explaining from, Krishna is instructing Arjun. Krishna is teaching various forms of yoga. Nishkam Karma Yoga, Krishna is only speaking. But Prabhupada is explaining it to us in our situation, right? So do it, performing activities in Krishna consciousness. Performing activities for the sake of Krishna, not because it's going to give you something or it's going to give you some loss, but doing something just for the sake of Krishna. What is this? This is surrender. One who is surrendered, he can do that. If Krishna wants, if it pleases Krishna, he will. That means his only desire is to please Krishna. Whatever pleases Krishna, he will do. Anything which displeases Krishna, he won't do. This is surrender. When one surrenders like this, then he becomes free from all other debts. Okay? So now also, finally, we'll reach the Prabhupada's Leelamrita. I know we went over time, but I hope you don't mind. Srila Prabhupada's Leelamrita. Okay. Srila Prabhupada is in 26 Second Avenue. And yesterday we saw how this one person who would come, he had so many questions and so many problems. He would come, and Prabhupada, any time of the day or up to 10 in the night, he would come. Prabhupada would sit patiently, listen to all his questions, answer to him. But when he tried to show off by bringing a girl, a young, his girlfriend, she wanted to show off. Srila Prabhupada said, I have no time, I'm busy. So when you go to the spiritual master, if you are genuinely approaching, however fallen you may be, the spiritual master is there for you. Srila Prabhupada showed that. One young man approached the Swami asking, what book will you lecture from next week? Actually, wait. So this is where we ended here. Sometimes young men would come with scholarly pretensions to test the Swami's knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, right? To challenge, to test how much Prabhupada knows. Some young men would come. You have read the Gita, Prabhupada would say. So what is your conclusion? If you claim to know the Gita, then you should know the conclusion that Krishna is presenting. So these people would come claiming to know the Bhagavad Gita. So Prabhupada would challenge them that if you claim to know Gita, tell me what is the conclusion of Gita that Krishna is presenting. But most people didn't think that there was supposed to be a definite conclusion to the Gita. Now, if I ask in this class, I think everyone will tell me what is the conclusion of uh, Gita that Krishna is presenting. What is the conclusion of Gita? Quickly. What is?
Surrender to give. Surrender
Yes,
to
surrender. Sarva dharman parityaja. Yes, that is the conclusion. Surrender to Krishna. But these people who are claiming to know Gita, when Prabhupada asked them what is the conclusion, they felt there is no conclusion to Gita. Most people didn't think that there was supposed to be a definite conclusion to the Gita. And even if there were such a conclusion, that didn't mean they were supposed to arrange their life around it. Even if Krishna is saying it doesn't mean that I should arrange my life in such a way that I will follow that conclusion. No. That was their opinion. The Gita was a spiritual book and you didn't have to follow it. That's their opinion. You just read it like you read a book in the library. You get knowledge, not that you will actually apply it in your life. One young man approached the Swami asking, what book will you lecture from next week? Will you be teaching the Tibetan Book of the Dead? As if Prabhupada would teach spirituality like a college survey course in world religions. Everything is there in Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada replied. We could study one verse for 3 months. And there were other questions. What about Camus? What is his philosophy? Prabhupada would ask. He says everything is absurd, and the only philosophical question is whether to commit suicide. That is his philosophy. Only philosophical question is whether to commit suicide. That means, Prabhupada is saying, that means everything is absurd for him. The material world is absurd, but there is a spiritual world beyond this one. That means he does not know the soul. The soul cannot be killed. Adherents of various thinkers approached him. What about Nietzsche? I don't even know this. Nietzsche, Kafka, Timothy Leary, Bob Dylan. Prabhupada would ask what their philosophy was, and the particular follower would have to explain and defend his favorite intellectual hero. They are all mental speculators, Prabhupada would say. Here in this material world, we are all conditioned souls. Your knowledge is imperfect. Your senses are blunt. What good is your opinion? We have to hear from the perfect authority, Krishna. Now, do you mean to say that none of the great thinkers are God conscious? A boy asked. Their sincerity is their God consciousness. But if we want perfect knowledge of God, then we have to consult Shastra. Often there were challenges, but under the Swami's stare and hard logic, the challenger would usually trail off into thoughtful silence. Is the spiritual knowledge of China advanced? Prabhupada would sometimes answer simply by making a sour face. What type of a question is this like that? Well, I'm a follower of Vedanta myself. Do you know what Vedanta means? What is the first aphorism of the Vedanta Sutra? Do you know? No, Then how can you speak of Vedanta? Vedaisya sarvair ahameva vedyaha. Krishna says that he is the goal of Vedanta. So if you are a Vedantist, then you must become Krishna conscious. What about the Buddha? Do you follow him? No. No, you just talk. Why don't you follow? Follow Krishna, follow Christ, follow Buddha, but don't just talk. This sounds the same as Christianity. How is it any different? It is the same love of God. But who is a Christian? Who follows? The Bible teaches thou shalt not kill. But all over the world, Christians are expert in killing. Do you know that? I believe the Christians say that Jesus Christ died for our sins. So why are you still sinning? Right? He died for our sins. Why are you still sinning? Although Prabhupada was a stranger to America, they were strangers to absolute knowledge. Whenever anyone would come to see him, he wouldn't waste time. He talked philosophy, reason, and argument. He constantly argued against atheism and impersonalism. He spoke strongly to prove the existence of God and the universality of Krishna consciousness. He talked often and vigorously, day and night, meeting all kinds of questions and philosophies. So we will stop there for today. We actually went half an hour over time. Sorry about that. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. All of you have a wonderful day in Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.